I'm back. We are at Endgame in Oakland after a long hiatus, and we are here for a Dropzone version 2 rules battle report. I'm here with Rich from Green Stuff Industries. Check it out, greenstuffindustries.com. If you want some cool MDF markers or a tentacle maker or any other interesting stuff that they've got. So like I said, we're going to play some V2. The mission we've set up here, since they haven't actually officially published any V2 missions, we're just doing pretty basic targets of opportunity objectives in this plus pattern here. Everything in a large building that is not reinforced. The one wrinkle we've done is we're going to try out these gun emplacement rules from the new V2 rules. So these two buildings have gun emplacements, and they have vision that's 180 degrees. So like this. So that way you could still potentially fly a dropship kind of behind the building over this way. The way these work is you have to have occupier's advantage in order to fire the gun. It's in the rules. And just as a refresher, the way that the objectives work, it's if you have the objective in control at the end of the game, you get 1 point, and if you get it all the way off the board, you get 2 points. I think that's it. We'll be back in a second with our armies. All right, here is my 1,500 point PHR list, and these V2 lists only have the original rulebook units in them, so they're very, very old style lists. It brings me back. So I've got an Odin and a Zeus in my commander group. Zeus has a level 3 commander in the Neptune, old style. Poseidons are amazing now, so I have 2 Poseidons in this list. The first one has got 2 Phobos, 2 Ares, and 2 Menchits, all in 3 separate squads, all in the same Poseidon, because you can do that in V2. I have a Neptune with 2 Juno A2s, and one has Immortals, one has Sirens. I've got a Triton with some Sirens in it, another Triton with some Sirens in it, and another Poseidon, this one with 3 Phobos, 2 Ares, and 1 Odin, because you can mix all that together in one Poseidon now. It's a new day.
Okay, this is my 1,500 point list. My HQ is a Zeus with a level 3 commander, an Odin.
Yep, the standard.
And 2 Athena runs back here. The next battle group is armor group. One is a Phobos and Odin, 2 separate squads, which I believe is this guy.
It says this one over there, Phobos and Odin.
Yeah, yep. Phobos, Odin, and the other one is Phobos and an Ares. My next armor squad is in a Poseidon. There's 2 Tyrannus. That's 1 squad. An Ares Menchant. That's another squad. And 2 Phobos. That's another squad. And then we got 2 sets of infantry. Both are identical. 1 squad of Immortals, 1 squad of Sirens, a Neptune, and 2 Juno A2s. And that's everything.
And those Tritons, I think, aren't in your list anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, let's take those off. Yep, those don't exist. Forget that happened. Start of turn 1, Rich won the roll-off and made me go first, and nobody played any cards. Alright, I activated one of my armor battle groups in the Poseidon, moved it forward, and I disembarked the Phobos and the Menchits.
Alright, I just brought an armored squad on with 2 Neptunes, dropped the Odin and a Phobos here, and dropped another Phobos and an Ares here, and the Odin fired on that building, causing 1 damage.
I activated my second armor group over here, moved it up, disembarked the Phobos. That's it.
Took my HQ squad in the Aegeon and trucked them up to here full speed.
Alright, I got my HQ squad in a Neptune, and I dropped it behind the building there.
Okay, came on with my big battle group and dropped my 2 Tyrannus right here behind this building, making sure that they are at least an inch away so that the building doesn't get dropped on them.
Alright, I activated my special group, and it's over there, 2 Sirens and a Train.
Alright, going for the easy objective right now. Moved my first infantry squad up, dropped their Junos, they hopped out of the Junos into the building.
That Angelus is proxying for Juno.
Yeah, Angelus is, yeah.
Alright, I activated my second special battle group of Sirens and moved them behind this middle building here.
Okay, flew my other infantry battle group up, just over this building, and they're waiting there.
I activated my infantry squad, they moved up here, disembarked the 2 Junos, Immortals, Sirens, they're all in there with the Junos helping them to find that objective. Start of turn 2, Rich won the roll-off and nobody played any cards.
Okay, tried to have the first shot of, or the first kill of the game. Drop and shot with these 2 Ares. at one of the Phobos on your right. Did 1 point of damage.
The unprimed one.
Yep. And then the 2 Tyrannus back here played countermeasure attack on the other 2 Phobos back there, and needed 4 up to hit either one of them, and rolled a 2 and a 3.
So no hits.
No hits.
All right, activated my special group and put my sirens in this building.
Okay, in an effort to maybe close off the lane, I picked up my Odin back here, hopped over the building, dropped him here, and then the Phobos walked 3 inches out into the open to cover the lane. Okay, addendum, because I'm super rusty. The other half of that battle group was this Neptune with an Ares and a Phobos. I just picked him up from here, moved him over, dropped him over here.
All right, so I activated my infantry battle group that was in here, and they both had Occupier's Advantage and a ground transport vehicle outside. So they got a +2 to find it. They could actually find it on a 4. I found the objective. I passed the objective into a Juno. The Juno is now driving off the board with no infantry in it. I then played a secret entrance card, and the Sirens disembarked 2 and then entered within 6 into this middle building. And then the Immortals went inside this Juno here, embarked into the transport, which is about here, and moved around, and it's now there.
Okay, drop and shot. Brought my command squad up, dropped them, shot them. Took 1 shot at the damaged Phobos, and the Odin fired at the other 2, or the other 2 shots at the other guy. Commander missed, or he hit, but he rolled a 1. And the Odin hit and did double damage.
Yep, so I lost a Phobos. All right, activated my armor group over here. This lane was getting too hot, so I embarked my 2 Phobos, and these guys were already in the transport, and they dropped over here. So the Phobos are now covering this lane. They can't shoot this turn because they embarked, but these guys were already embarked, so they can drop and shoot. They shot all 4 of their rail cannons at the Odin there and did nothing.
So, my luck's been holding true on finding objectives for the past few games. Rolled 2 dice at 4 up, thanks to the Junos back here, and Occupier's Advantage, and rolled Snake Eyes. Woohoo!
And then you repositioned a little bit?
And I repositioned. I pulled everything on this side to hopefully avoid getting fired at by that thing.
I activated my command group, Odin and Zeus. They were in a Neptune back here or underneath it, so they got back in and just did a short drop over here and relocated there.
Okay, my final infantry, or final battle group was infantry. They moved up here, dropped out, entered the building with his sirens.
Activated my special group, moved them up here, and put more sirens in that building. I activated my second big Poseidon group, so 3 squads in it. First, the Menchits walked up. I played experimental gyros, and they moved up here 5 inches and flamed this building. There's no one in it, but they managed to put 1 fire token on it, because fire is extremely deadly once you get the fire going.
Too deadly.
Yeah. Then I took the Ares and the transport, moved them to the full 16 up here, and then the Phobos walked up here, to try to get a better angle. Turn 2 roundup phase, so we rolled for the fires. I rolled a 5, so that's now 2 fires, and the building took 2 damage. It's down to 28. Start of turn 3, I won the initiative roll-off, and nobody played any cards. Alright, I activated my sirens in this thing, so we very carefully read the rules. They had Occupier's Advantage because they got in the building first. There's a gun emplacement. You can fire the gun emplacement during the turn you activate if you have Occupier's Advantage, which I did. So I allocated 1 siren base to fire the gun, fired the gun at his Neptune, and it's 4 E10 Poseidon. AA shots at 2 up, and yeah, Poseidon, not Neptune, the big one, which is insane. And I completely melted the Poseidon out of the sky in 1 round of shooting.
Oh yeah.
It's dead. Then at the end of the activation, it triggered a CQB with some modifiers for Occupier's Advantage and 1 base shooting. So we did the CQB. I rolled absolutely awful, and all my sirens died, and I only managed to kill 1 base of Immortals. So they're gone, and he still has a pretty good infantry presence in that building, which is unfortunate.
Okay, so about the only thing I can do to keep him from getting that objective off was to try and kill it with these 2 walkers right here. I took 3 shots, hit twice, only did 1 point of damage with 2 hits.
So I barely escaped, and I can still drop that off the board, hopefully. Okay, I activated my infantry battle group. I didn't want to take any chances, moved the Juno off the board. He might not have been able to hit it with anything else, but I just didn't trust myself to analyze every single possible thing he had on the table, and I just wanted to play it safe. So I extracted the objective. It is now off the board. The second Juno was in the Neptune here. It went around the corner, got reaction fired by the Phobos, took 2 damage, which was pretty rough, and then it dropped, and then dropped these Immortals in there, so it has 1 damage left, and I now have 3 infantry in the building.
Okay, after much confusion, the battle group, I moved one of the Ares up here, picked up and dropped it, left the Phobos here because it fired.
Okay.
Walked up the Odin a little bit, walked up the Phobos a little bit, and then pulled attached this Neptune back here to it and pulled it up behind the building.
Okay, and fired.
And I fired at his Odin twice, hitting once, damaging once.
Alright, so I activated my second special group. The logic here was that I wanted to see if I can find this objective or not, because that would really influence what I do with my men chits, which I haven't activated yet. So I was hoping I would find it. I failed on a 5-up, so they've activated. That's it.
Okay, so moved up an Ares, took a shot at his Odin, failed to kill it.
Yep.
Fired with the Menchit, killed the base of Sirens pretty easily, and fired.
The building did not catch on fire, which is very important.
Which is
huge,
amazing.
Huge, actually. And the Tyrannus.
The Tyrannus fired at the building and did 3 DP to it because I rolled crappy.
Yeah, you did, unfortunately. All right, I activated my command group. They just walked forward their 2 inches here and unloaded on his Phobos and blew it up.
Okay, options are kind of running out for me right now. I found the objective. I passed it out to a Juno back here, which is ground running it off the table, hopefully.
And everyone's just staying in the building. All right, activated my big Poseidon armor group over here. The Phobos activated and shot at his Aegeon. Despite some white Nanomachine cards and some saves, I did get 2 hits through and rolled a 4 and a 6, which was enough to do 3 damage to take it down, so it's dead. These 2 Ares and Odin walked up, shot his Odin there, and got 3 hits, and he saved all 3 of them as passive sauce.
I rolled incredibly for once.
And the Poseidon shot the building and did 1 damage. Activated my second armor group over here. I attached the Neptune that originally went with the command group and put it over here to pick up the Menchits, so now I can react to wherever his infantry decide to move. Then the Phobos walked over here, just had an angle on the Neptune and blew it up, because Phobos are amazing now that they hit on 2s. And the rest of this group was the last 2 Ares are in the Poseidon, so they dropped here. The LZ is hot rule no longer is in the game, so now you can drop right up on people's faces and stand right next to them. And they kind of did this line thing, and so they're shielding themselves from some of the fire that's going to come from that side next turn by using the Ares to get in the way. And they shot at his Juno, which was trying to get off the board with the objective, and they blew it up. So that objective is just sitting on the ground now. I can't get to it, but at least that distracts him, and he's going to have to commit more vehicles to get him back there.
Yep.
Turn 3, roundup phase, the fire grew to 3 fires, and this building's now down to 25. And keep in mind, this is due to 1 flamer hitting the building on turn 2. This is now the scenario. And this is not abnormal. This is what happens in every game. Fire is a little out of control right now. Start of turn 4, I won the initiative roll-off, and neither one of us played any cards. Okay, I activated my infantry group here with the Sirens and the Immortals, and what I was hoping to do here was to find the objective right away and get the heck out of there before he can do too much more to me. I had more than 50% chance of doing it. Unfortunately, I failed. So really there's no other movement. All that happened was I just drove my Juno on, the one that abstracted the objective earlier. Everything else is just going to stay in place. I decided not to go to the windows or anything. That's it.
Okay, command group turned a little bit, took out the ground transport Juno here to prevent his troops from grabbing it and going. They also called in one of my 2 Athenas to kill the Triton, which was also successful.
Successfully killed the Triton.
Yep.
And you fired a stealth cruise missile at the building. You hit it. You didn't roll that high, so it did 3 damage to the building, but didn't cause any collateral.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I activated my big armor group on this side, so complicated turn here. These guys actually embarked into the Poseidon. The Poseidon moved up and dropped them off again, and they're going to try to threaten that objective. That'll be really interesting. The Menchits were already embarked in the Neptune. They went over here and dropped, and they flamed the building. One of them, it says they're only hitting on 5 ups because they dropped and they have the -2 penalty. One of them actually failed to get a single hit, so which meant I couldn't make a flame roll. The other one, we need to put a base of sirens back there. We'll do that later. The other one did 1 damage to a base of sirens, again only hitting on 5s, but did manage to light the building on fire, so I have 1 fire token. The 2 Phobos moved up to get in a better position, but saved their shots.
Okay, this may have been a big mistake, but basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to dogpile this objective, so
I don't get it.
I embarked the Immortals, they disembarked, grabbed the objective, and the Sirens just ran out just in case the Immortals somehow get destroyed.
Which I was explaining to him, I don't think is even possible with 2 areas shooting at them, but he doesn't believe me.
I just want to make sure. Because there's nothing else they can do anyway, because they'll just be trapped in this building. Otherwise.
Which is on fire.
Yeah, which is on fire.
Well, I mean, they could like go into there and
but they'll still be in the open. I have no transport to get them. Yeah,
yeah,
so
that makes sense.
That's the only other useful thing for them to do right now.
Okay, got it. All right, activated my last group of sirens in here in hopes of finding the objective. I failed the 5-up roll. I also played a call for extraction because they were within bubble range of my commander. So I had another Triton fly in 20 inches, so there's another Triton there, and that is close enough to his slow-moving fast mover that he has to minimum move 15 inches, and he'll overshoot it next turn, so he won't be able to fire at it.
Okay, this is a long one. The Tyrannus took a shot on this building, did minimal damage.
No, it did 6 damage.
Well, it's almost minimal though for what a Tyrannus should be able to do.
But you didn't roll any two hires, so that means you didn't do any collateral according to the new building.
I rolled great for hit, but not great for damage.
You had a Menchit?
I had a Menchit,
It rolled complete garbage.
Absolute garbage. I had 8 dice and didn't roll over 2
killed
on 7 of them.
one siren.
Yeah.
But you did manage to light the building on fire, so there's now 1 fire in that building.
And then, what was the last?
You had an Ares.
Oh, the 2 Phobos.
The 2
killed
Phobos.
the Neptune that was carrying the flame units.
Well, not currently,
Or
but
it
yeah.
was.
And
Yeah.
so it crashed, and it hit one of the flame units because it was underneath it, but it didn't do any damage.
Almost.
Yep.
Almost. And then I took a shot from this Ares to that Odin.
But I made my passive.
You made his passive, yeah.
Okay, I activated this big armor group over here. So the 3 anti-tank units, the Odin and the 2 Ares, just walked forward. Everyone shot the Odin, and I finally, after 3 turns of shooting, managed to kill it. That freed up a bit of space here, so my Poseidon went back here. The Phobos walked up. They picked them up, moved them forward, hid them back here, hid the Poseidon, so it shouldn't be that easy to hit from the Phobos who were all lurking back there. And that just moves them forward a little bit more so I can be more proactive next turn.
Okay. So, I found the objective, thank God. They embarked in a Juno, got in the Neptune, and made their 8-inch move, hopefully to not get shot later.
Juno?
I pulled the Juno around on this side for later. And I shot this incredibly fucking OP gun at the Neptune and hit 3 out of 4 times and did 3 damage to the thing. No problem. I rolled kind of crappy. It is so overpowered.
Really yeah.
This
gun
amazingly overpowered.
E10 AA.
This shouldn't
4
exist
shots,
as it is.
2 up. Like, it has to be a typo. Like,
There's
no way that they meant to make a 4-shot, 2-up E10 AA. I don't think there's an E10 AA gun in the game on any faction.
Yeah.
Like, that is... It has to be a typo. There's no way they meant that to be an AA gun.
E8
It's got to...
Maybe
E8 if it was AA, but not E10. That is like complete
E10,
insanity. Something like that. Yeah, that has to be a typo. Ridiculous. So I would recommend not playing with a gun emplacement until they change the rules. It's completely broken right now. Anyway, the Neptune that blew up killed or landed on my Phobos and did 1 damage. I activated my command group. They have no transport anymore, so they just walked forward 2 inches, got a good angle on the Ares that used to be there, and it hit it for 3 damage. It's super dead.
Okay, boring turn. This Phobos leapfrogged his buddy, and then the Odin ran up the road here for him.
Turn 4 roundup phase, aka the fire phase. So this one I rolled 3 5-ups, so it now has 6 fire tokens and is down to 19 damage. And just remember, This is from a single flamer hitting it on turn 2. It has now done 11 damage to the building, and there's 6 fire tokens, which means that anyone in the building would like lose over 1 infantry base per turn on average. That's how incredibly damaging fire is. This one did not spread the fire, but did kill an immortal. That one did 1 damage to the building. Start of turn 5, I won the roll-off, and nobody played any card. Okay, activated this armor group over here because this was my best chance to kill his Neptune, which was my best chance to actually deny him any sort of victory points. So I actually had 2 Phobos that had a very narrow shot. They could see the flight stand of that Neptune. They took their shot, but unfortunately he weapon hacked one of them and made me shoot this building instead, which is why it has 3 damage on it. I had no way to counter the weapon hack. The other one shot it and only did 1 damage. So, and I rolled so well that if he had not weapon hacked me, I would have killed the Neptune.
Oh yeah.
So that was a really important moment in the game that probably got him a victory point. These AA walkers moved over here and blew up the Odin that was on the street, and this Poseidon shot the Zeus on the off chance it would hit, but of course it didn't hurt it. That's it.
Infantry battle group. The Sirens embarked, the Juno embarked, and now they're over here.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
And then the Immortals just grabbed or took the objective into the building for extraction next turn.
And next turn they'll get off the board, and I don't think I can stop him. I activated my infantry battle group with the Immortals and the Sirens. I needed 5 ups because they have Occupier's Advantage in a large building. I did finally find the objective, went into the Triton. Triton moved here. We were reading the rules for the AA gun because Rich wanted to reaction fire with it, and the rules right now say that you can only fire it during the infantry's activation, which would sort of imply that you could never reaction fire with it because that would never happen during the infantry's activation.
Which might be why it's so strong.
Maybe?
Because it's only half as it's only.
It can never reaction fire. I still think.
I still think it's OP.
I still think it should never be AA.
That might be the logic.
Maybe, but I still think it's too strong.
Yeah.
I mean, if something can blow up a Poseidon in 1 turn with 24-inch range on the top of a building, that's too strong.
Well, Sotari has that.
With a Panther, can the Panther blow up a Poseidon in 1 turn? I don't know. I don't know if I have to do the math on that. So yeah, Triton's here, and I'm gonna hopefully get that off the board next turn unless he can figure out a way to blow it up.
Okay, did my HQ group. I had the Athena fly off behind his Phobos.
Yep, I did get 1 reaction fire shot with this Phobos, which could already see it, but I didn't hurt it. So.
And then the commander turned, fired at one of the remaining Ares there, and killed it.
Gotta go. Activated my armor group. The Ares, I really just, if you do the math, I don't think there's anything they can do to the guys inside the building. It's like they're going to kill 2 squads. So they got into their Poseidon, hid from the death gun over here, and or maybe drop and shoot next turn. The Menschitz just flamed this building for good measure, 2 more flame tokens on it, and then backed up a bit. The Phobos moved over here, and I had a brief moment of hope that maybe this Phobos could get a line of sight on that Neptune over there, and I measured it very precisely, and I looked at the line of sight, and he doesn't have it. So hopes were dashed. Took a couple of pot shots at the Juno, it didn't do anything.
Okay, that was my second armor group that just went. I flamed the building, killed the base of Sirens, ran up, and Ares killed one of the Phobi, and moved this transport up here for later use, and I left my other Phobi here in the crossroads.
Activated my command group. They moved 2 inches back this way because they didn't really have any good targets there. Took the shot against the Zeus. Got 2 hits. He failed both his passives, and I rolled a 6. And that was enough to take out his Zeus. So it was a whole big chunk of command points.
Because that's the way I roll.
Still turn 5. Your activation for your Tyrannus.
We got confused. So my Tyrannus both fired at one of his 2 Phobos back here.
And blew it up. All right, turn 5 roundup phase. Amazingly, I rolled this fire token. I rolled 4 1s. So we're back down to 2 fires and 17 damage on the building. Rolled a 1 here and did some damage, and that building's at 2. Started turn 6. I lost the roll-off for initiative, but I played a Central HQ directive, and I re-rolled it and won it, thank goodness, because I need to get that objective abstracted. And nobody played any cards other than... All right, activated my infantry group and extracted my guy off the board.
activated my infantry group and extracted the objective off the board. Okay, and my final is going to be extracting that objective as well.
So we could just like try to rack up more kill points right now, but the store is going to close, so we are going to skip most of the rest of turn 6 and just count up the kill points as we have now. Okay, end of the game. So I extracted this objective and this objective off the table. You extracted this objective and this objective off the table, so 4 victory points to 4 victory points. I set this building on fire at the beginning of the game, so it was not worth ever going into, and it was completely denied. So yeah, 4 to 4, and then since this is a non-tournament game, you would go down to kill points. We added the kill points, which is basically at the start of turn 6 because we weren't able to finish, and we're within 10 kill points of each other. So actually, to really determine the winner of the game, we would actually really have to play out turn 6 to find out who got more kill points, but like we mentioned, the store is closing, so we gotta head out. But yeah, I guess congrats to Rich, because you beat me by 10 kill points.
Call it a tie, dude.
Called a tie.
That was ridiculous.
All right, just real quick, loving V2 overall.
Yep.
I think the drop and shoot mechanics are in a really good place now that you can't pick up and then drop and then shoot in the same turn.
Yeah.
That feels good. The penalties are good. The flame table is too deadly. Like one early flame will, but you know, like like 1 or 2 hits early in the game will basically make a building completely uninhabitable for the rest of the game. So that's that. I think they need to change the flame table. So maybe like a 1 the fire goes out, a 6 the fire spreads, and then 2 through 5 it doesn't spread.
Yeah.
So you actually have to like actively flame the building more to get the flame counters up. I think that would be a much better change, because right now it's completely out of control. Also, these gun emplacements
are stupid.
Yeah, they're broken right now. So
really
I would highly recommend not playing with the gun emplacements
freaking dumb.
until they change those. But don't let our negativity on those 2 things, the fires and the gun emplacements, take away from the fact that like a lot of things feel better in V2.
Yeah.
The CQB feels better. The mechanics of moving into out of buildings feel better. Occupier's advantage feels better because now it rewards you being aggressive and moving into the buildings instead of like getting punished for it, which is what happened in V1. The elimination of the LZ as hot rule allows you to be much more aggressive, moving into the backside of the board, and lets them. It's harder to deny people, so that let me go challenge his objective, which was really interesting.
That has, as far as I know, never freaking happened.
The game feels very retro right now because you're only playing with the original rulebook models. So, like, if you've ever played Dropzone back before any of the expansions, it was like, you know, the weapons weren't as powerful. It was kind of a little slower paced game. Not as much stuff died. And you can see here, like, 2/3 of both of our armies are still alive. Well, Rich is packing it up, but
Well, yeah, we gotta
go.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so like I actually really kind of like bringing that back. Can't wait. Just need a couple minor changes, I think, and get the rules for the new units in. But I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's awesome.
hope you enjoyed it, and see you next.